Welcome back into the LFC Transfer Room. It's Jack and it's Ta and it's the Scousers Abroad. We're back here. I mean, these are always so important. We save them for good occasions, big matches, important times. That's all we have from now till May is important matches, title deciders practically every week. Ta, it's a brilliant time to be a Liverpool fan. How are you doing at the moment?
I'm doing great, Jack. The good-looking suit you have on.
Touche.
Good-looking suit I have on as well. You know, the first few weeks you were outdressing me, and I can't let that slide anymore. So I have to up my game a little bit in terms of my overall attire. But I'm excited, Jack. We sort of hinted at the end of the last show that we're going to be seeing each other a lot more now because of all the important games that's coming up in the month of April. And 2 finals done already. 6 more to go. Exactly.
So let's talk about those finals that we had out of the international break. It was Liverpool versus Watford. Liverpool winning that match 2-0. First goal coming courtesy of Diogo Jota. A ball in from Joe Gomez, who was filling in at right back in the place of the not injured, but kind of recovering from injury, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Puts a brilliant Trent-esque ball into the box. Jota flicks it on. He's a guy who, I want to talk about him first, is... You know, one of the, I saw a Liverpool fan tweet, after that match saying, I love Jota. He scores great goals, but he cannot play football because he struggles in a lot of aspects beyond goal scoring, Ta. I'd love to hear your perspective of the Portuguese man up front because I'll give mine in a moment. Love to hear your perspective on things.
I'm a big fan of Diogo Jota. I think he was brought in earlier on last campaign, and there are a lot of questions if he can up his game from the standards that he was performing at Wolves to Liverpool, and he transitioned well. The fact that he came in, didn't take too much time in terms of being able to adapt to Liverpool's style, scoring goals. That's what you're brought in to do at the end of the day. If you're a striker, you have to score goals. And right now, you're looking at the top scorers for Liverpool this campaign. He's number 2. He has 20 goals in all competitions, 14 already in the Premier League. And it doesn't matter sometimes if you're struggling on other aspects of game. You understand that he's not being brought in. He's not being transferred in to assist other players or do all those fancy tricks and all that extracurricular stuff on the pitch. He's been brought in to score goals. He heads the ball well. He can finish with his left, and his right is lethal as well. And I just think he's a big-time player. Whenever it's a tight game, whenever it's a game that only the goal that is scored first will decide the outcome, he usually steps up to the plate. Arsenal away, Nottingham away recently, and he got that earlier goal against Watford that sort of alleviated all the nerves.
We'll take a look more on him going forward in the next 2 matches, which are very important ones. Second goal of that match came courtesy of Fabinho, a guy who didn't start the match, comes off the bench, scores an excellently taken penalty after the man we just talked about, Diogo Jota, was torn down in the box. Is that a penalty for you, Ta?
Yeah, I looked at the overall game before I get to the penalty. Overall, the Watford match, good to get underway first with that goal earlier on, just 20-ish minutes into the game. You don't really want to go into halftime 0-0 against a bottom 3 side because that pressure when you come out of the locker room is going to be sky high. You're trying to put pressure on Man City. You're not wanting to drop points after returning from international break. So it's good that Diogo Jota was able to convert there. But I thought Watford played well. The shots total in the end, Liverpool outshot Watford 20-5. But in terms of attempts on target, it was only 3-2. And Watford had so many opportunities that they could have scored. Alisson had to make big saves. The defense had to make last-ditch tackles. And I thought that if Watford were a little more clinical, could have been 1-1 heading into the last 10-20 minutes of the match.
And I want to reference a point early on in that match. Right before the Jota goal, you have a ball in behind. I believe he's onside. I'm blanking on the Watford player who gets in behind.
Yeah.
Huge save made by Alisson, comes off his line, big save. And it was Joe Gomez who, the Jekyll and Hyde of him, he can be sometimes a bit poor playing out from the back. Had a poor pass, led to a counter, then a brilliant cross in. So they kind of take the good and the bad as it comes. But Alisson making a huge stop where Liverpool, we mentioned it before the international break, that they have been riding luck quite a bit. They have been so many margin calls that if they finish that chance off, Watford does. Liverpool might not win that match.
Yeah.
You go down 1-0 versus go 1-0 up. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a very dumb thing to say. It's a huge impact of the match. But Alisson, immense as always. I'll let you get the rest of your thoughts on the performance, Tom.
Yeah, going back to your original question. Sorry, we're just like going off a tangent here, but that penalty decision, I think Roy Hodgson and Watford will definitely feel hard done by it, because did it have an impact with the play? Not necessarily. And also, did Jota sort of grab Kuchka on the way down? Yes, right? So if you combine those two aspects of it, despite the VAR decision in the end going in favor of Liverpool, from a neutral's point of view, you could say that should be going the other way, because on the way down, Jota's right arm, I believe, is pulling that defender or pulling the midfielder down with him. Doesn't matter if the initial contact was started by the Watford player, but finally, in the end, Jota was brought down, and I guess maybe the cop end were loud enough and convinced the referee to give it Liverpool's way.
I'm going to give the contrarian perspective. I was going to, if you had said yes, it was a penalty, I would offer almost that perspective. I'm not surprised you took that up, but, you know, I think that you have to call that, because you can't have, you know, defender no eyes towards the ball. In a physical tussle with a forward going down to the ground in the box. Is Jota takes two to tango? Is he got hands all over him? I don't doubt that. Did he play a role in how they fall? I don't doubt that. Can you rugby tackle, American football tackle a guy in the 18-yard box? No, I think it's a good. It's yes. I mean, Hodgson said after the match, you know, well, it's upsetting because no one was appealing for it. The players weren't. I mean, the fans might have a little bit, but. But that's not what it is. VAR is there for when players miss it, referees miss it, everyone misses it. But a serious mistake was made. And, I mean, who's to say if that ball bounces towards the keeper, it's maybe a bouncer, and Jota could be trying to get a rebound, and he's on the ground with the guy on top of him. I think it's a good precedent call where, yes, contact is fine as a contact sport. Taking a guy to the ground in the penalty area on a corner when they're not even looking at the ball, for me, is a step too far. So.
Yeah, it looked 50-50, but I think you can view it either way. I viewed it sort of, well, Jota's being a bit sneaky with it with his right arm, pulling the defender down with him. But at the same time, Kuchka should never be looking at Jota the whole time. He should at least try and attempt to maybe stare the ball, look back, maybe, you know, run towards the ball or something. Because if it's a collision where, let's say, Kuchka runs towards the ball and hits Jota, then no, that's unintentional. It won't be a penalty. But the fact that you put yourself in a position where the referee can give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker, that's when the penalty is called. So
2-0, I believe you had a 1-0 result, was your prediction before, and it was, I mean, only one open play goal. It was the lone goal that Liverpool scored. Let's put Fabinho on pens for the rest of the season. I mean, the way he hits them is a good question. Do you have Salah or Fabinho on penalties? Who for you is, let's say, 20 minutes into the Man City match, Salah wins a penalty. So you have the win penalty factor for Salah. But you have Fabinho and Salah. Who's taking it for you? Not for Klopp. Not prediction for who's taking it. If you're Jurgen Klopp, all of a sudden you're doing like a Freaky Friday, Chris Brown body swap. Who's taking the penalty for you?
Ooh, that's a very, very tough decision to make, because you sort of put me in a spot here where your best player, Mo Salah, converts 95% of his penalties a few weeks ago. Recently, though, he's been missing them. He's been missing them, the one at AFCON. Sorry, not the one at AFCON. He didn't take the one at AFCON, and he also missed the one that would have sent Egypt to the World Cup. I'm going to go with Fabinho. I'm going to go with Fabinho because I don't think he's missed a penalty yet for Liverpool. And the way that he has the composure to do the Panenka against Edouard Mendy and also just rifle one in this past week against Watford, he's hot right now, and he has that composure when it comes to taking the spot kick. So I'm going to go with the man in form, Fabinho.
That's a good one. That's an interesting one.
How about you, Jack?
I'm looking here. I'm trying to see if total penalties scored. He scored 24 penalties in his career. He's missed one penalty.
For Liverpool?
Total in his career.
Okay, in his career.
And that was against Roman Burki in the 2016-2017 UEFA Champions League against Monaco.
Okay, so he's never missed for Liverpool yet.
When he was playing for Monaco against Dortmund.
Good.
He's only taken 3 for Liverpool, though.
Mm-hmm.
He's taken one against, who even is that? Shrewsbury?
Yep.
Shrewsbury? Have they all been this year? Or am I mistaken this?
Yeah. Shrewsbury, Chelsea, Watford.
And Palace.
Palace.
They didn't count the Chelsea one because that was a penalty shoot. These are open play.
Okay.
Excuse me, not open play because they're not open play, but regulation.
Yes.
Count as goals. I'll go with the other perspective just to kind of offer the other side of things. I think you couldn't go wrong with having Fabinho. I think he's great to have 2 great penalty takers for a shootout, but
Yes.
I think being a forward is about confidence. We see Salah as in a rut confidence-wise. He's been scoring. Penalties have been like the lone source of his goals pretty recently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you take that from him. I think that you still let him work his way out. If he misses the penalty, there's always the risk of that pushes him down further, but I always want to be to give the opportunities rather than take away. If he misses one against City or misses a big one down the stretch, maybe you switch it around. But I don't think there's been a catastrophic penalty miss for Liverpool at least. And I mean, the one in the qualifiers, I mean, his face was green. He probably couldn't see anything for the next 2 weeks afterwards.
For anyone who watched the last Scousers Abroad, I made a holographic popping onto your screen.
So Watford 2-0. That was a good way to open the return from the international break. Duty done. You're fine. Now you play Benfica in your next match. And this is a tough one, on paper. On the road, in Portugal, tough crowd potentially. Liverpool come out great. They have the fabled midfield trio, Fabinho, Thiago, Keita. I've wanted to see it for ages. I have, the -5 time difference, hour time difference for us always puts these midweek matches such an awkward time. I have class. I see the lineup, and I'm excited to watch this match back later. And it was a phenomenal 6 open play chances created in the first half, or big chances, I should say, in the first half. Liverpool scored 2 before halftime. Big mistake by Konate, and allows Darwin Nunez, the guy we talked about, potentially as a danger man. He scores 1 to bring it back, but then very late on, Luis Diaz, who had a phenomenal performance, rounds the keeper and taps it home to make it 3-1. Ta, your takeaways from that match?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant from the NFT midfield. I typed it into the LC transfer room chat. Nope, not non-fungible token. It's Navi, Fav, and Thiago. Yeah. The first time I think that Keita's played alongside Thiago ever.
As a
believe
starter,
it or not. Yeah. Yes, as a starter.
And there was that one match where they were supposed to play together, but then Keita got the pre-match injury.
Yes.
And had to be taken out. And that obviously disappointed everyone because you wanted to see this.
Yeah. Benfica game, looking back at it, just overall, the team performance was up there amongst the best away days in Europe. 5th consecutive road win in the Champions League, and it takes a lot of pressure off the team come the return leg. We talked about it on the show last week, where if it's just a 1-0, it's just a 2-1, if it's a close, maybe even a draw, then you come back having to worry about that midweek match in between the 2 City games. So you don't want to put yourself in that type of spot. They also set a new club record. I'm reading here, 19 matches since they last conceded in the first half of a game.
Unbelievable.
Talk about mentality monsters, Jack. You go into a game without conceding in the first 45 minutes. Klopp has to be very, very pleased. And yeah, to add more on that first half performance, 2 goals scored, could have probably been 4, 5, 6, depending. I think Salah was threaded through by Trent a few occasions. Naby Keita had a header opportunity as well. And Konate, you're right, he came up clutch to give that 1-0 lead. He's now the 20th player this season for Liverpool to get his name on the score sheet. So
that's a remarkable stat.
That's a lot of stat to try to digest right now. And Luis Diaz unselfishly heads down for Mane. Second half, though, Jack, I want to open and swing this question back to you. Yeah. Benfica looked like they were going to equalize. I mean, Darwin Nunez capitalizes on Konate's mistake. Looked like a recreational league defending. We play on a rec league team. Looked like defending from our league that we play every Monday. And 15 minutes, that span of time, really similar to what Watford did to Liverpool, right?
You cannot expect a full 90-minute match against one of the, I don't want to say premier sides in Europe. They're a very, very good side, Benfica are. They proved it against Ajax. They can be a threat. They can be very potent up front. And I should make sure to emphasize, I didn't kind of say the good and the bad with Konate. I said the bad. I don't have an agenda against him or anything. I think he had a poor mistake conceding the goal, obviously. But he was good.
Yeah, he was decent all around. Just made a silly mistake.
And that happens. And you would obviously want to avoid that, but he's a young guy. The head will be up, especially after getting his first Liverpool goal. So I hope his, on the balance of things, he's taking more positives than negatives from that match. Because I thought he was pretty good. But yeah, I 100% agree, Tom, that you're always going to run the risk of that when you play Liverpool's system, where sides will get in behind, they'll get a bit of momentum, and they'll get some space that you don't want to be giving to them, especially with Keita, Thiago, Fabinho, when the rhythm was knocked off a little bit. Because again, you expect three phenomenal midfielders. I would say Fabinho, Thiago, world class. Keita, if he's fit regularly, could be world class. Three world class midfielders should be able to just function together perfectly, but again, this is some of their first times playing together, and really, I guess the team was just unsettled after that goal. So I'm not worried terribly. Of course, there are flaws to the performance, but when aren't there flaws? It's such an amazing sport where there's only 4 moments that truly matter. The 4 goals, 3 of them going to Liverpool, but there are so many small things that could have changed, that could have made such a big impact.
I'm gonna praise your boy Naby Keita. I thought that he had an absolutely fantastic game. Some of the stats afterwards: most touches on the pitch at 106, completed 92% of his passes. So, I mean, for a Champions League match, that's like Kevin De Bruyne numbers. I mean, you don't pass it side to side. His passes aren't side to side as well. They're through passes, feeding players in, like the last one that he fed Luis Diaz in. So, I love his energy. I think that when Liverpool signed him initially in 2018, 2019, he was the 3rd highest ever player brought into Liverpool, believe it or not. I think just below Van Dijk and Alisson. And there's so much pressure when you arrive with that transfer fee. The fact that he's taking a bit of time to adapt, some injuries, some off-form stuff. He had a horrendous Champions League campaign last year against Real Madrid. But now we see him fully fit.
Yes.
And with the running of games that Liverpool have left, with all the, Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday type of fixture, he's going to be very crucial to come in, put on a shift, and hold down midfield for Liverpool.
Yeah, I've seen people say, you can't have Keita and Thiago as your left center mid options, where it would be Thiago starts 70 minutes, Keita comes on final 20. That's brilliant, because you have 2 guys who function perfectly nearly in that left central midfield spot. You're saying you can't have 2 of them. I think, why can't you? Of course, if you have guys who are available, I don't want to say 50% of the time, 75% of the time, that 25% may overlap sometimes. And then you're saying, oh, wow, now I have no good midfielders at this spot. But you have 2 of the most premier technical players in all of the world in your midfield. And I thought they looked very, very good. I thought Keita, it was exactly the all-round midfield performance was encapsulated in that final goal, where he intercepts the ball, drives forward, is confident, head up, plays a brilliant through pass for Diaz, times it perfectly. It showed every aspect, everything he has in his locker. He's very good defensively. He's very good creatively. He can carry the ball. If he can stay fit, and he's nearing the end of that leash and that string to say if he can stay fit, asterisk. But if he can continue to stay fit going forward, he's should get a new contract. He really has a long-term future, I think, if he can stay fit. I think before we talk about Man City, let's talk about the next Benfica match. Let's kind of make the calendar a bit inverted. Okay. How confident are you about advancing in, several days' time, Wednesday next week?
Jack, I'm nervous. No, I'm kidding. Of course I'm not nervous. You have a 3-1 away win in Portugal. You come back, you get the Anfield crowd all riled up, all ready to back you to make another semi-final appearance since that 2018-2019 season when Liverpool won it all. So confidence will be high. I think confidence will be even higher if that City result this weekend goes well. So I just think it's all about keeping calm, going to the match, getting that early goal, and then just letting the game ride on.
And just getting through is all I want, to be honest with you, Todd. And we saw with the Inter one, 2-goal advantage heading into second leg at home. You actually lose by 1 goal. You advance on the 180 minutes, and that's enough. If, again, quadruple is still on, I'm knocking wood, because it's still so much more needs to go well to get another trophy, let alone 3 more trophies.
Yes.
We won't look back on this year and say the margins, like, oh, the margins were so thin. We'll look back and say, whoa, they won so many trophies. These are the moments where you just got to grind it out.
Yeah.
Speaking of grinding it out, biggest match of the season. Fair to say? Liverpool versus Manchester City on Sunday?
By a mile.
By a mile. Obviously you could say maybe Chelsea, Liverpool because there was a trophy on the line, but this match is going to be tense. It's going to be great. It's the stats around this match, since the start of 18-19, I believe, maybe 17-18, 1 point difference between the teams. Very similar spend in that time, but again, you could extend it a bit longer, change the numbers around. These are, the two best sides in England. People always say, it's the Pep Klopp era, but Pep has won 3 titles, Klopp's won 1. And that's 100% valid, because if you end this year with another Man City title, this isn't a Pep and Klopp era. This is a Pep era. 4 titles in 5 years is unbelievably good. This is a title decider, Ta. I don't think anything except for a win lines you up for a title.
It's a must-win game for Liverpool if they want to claim that historic 20th Premier League title. You look at everything that's online, 30 games played for both sides, City on 73 points, Liverpool on 72. Liverpool come into the match having won 17 out of their last 18 games in all competitions. That is absolutely staggering. You look at the last 10 for both sides, Liverpool 9 wins, 1 loss. City 7 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss. So you could try to make the case Liverpool are the hotter team right now, and I think rightly so. You look at the form and what they have to go through in the Champions League and all the teams face. It's going to be very difficult to predict the outcome of this game. I think the style you can sort of see already. It's been foreshadowed throughout the entire season. It's going to be very end-to-end. There's going to be goals for sure in this game. Not going to be a goalless affair. And you can almost argue, Jack, that the 22 players who will be stepping onto the pitch at the Etihad this Sunday are the best 22 in the world right now. You can almost make that case. Yes, maybe Lewandowski and Benzema are better than the attacking players, but you look at the midfield, you look at what both teams have in defense, you look at the goalkeepers, it's stacked. It's going to be an enthralling game. I cannot wait for Sunday to come.
You'd be hard-pressed to find better units than what Liverpool have in defense, City have in defense, City's midfield, City's forward line, Liverpool's forward line, Liverpool's midfield.
Yeah.
These are the two best sides in the world in my eyes. And we're facing potentially where this season, you have City win this match, then they win next Sunday's match, then they maybe win Champions League final against Liverpool. The triple combo, that would just,
it would be like being punched right, left, and then an uppercut.
Yeah,
like 3 in a row.
It wouldn't, because Liverpool are a much more historic side than City are.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to claim anything like that. But it would almost, I wouldn't be able to go online and discuss Liverpool for a decade because it would just be, we beat you 3 out of 3 times. We beat you to the punch in the 3 biggest competitions. So it is so fascinating. I think people want to have it one way or the other, where it's going to be 3 for Liverpool, 3 for City. I think it'll probably end up being 2-1 or maybe 1-1.
Yeah.
And neither wins the Champions League.
Yeah, and you look at the last 5 meetings. Looking at the stats right here, 2021-2022 season. So the first meeting between these two sides, 2-2 home draw. Meanwhile, last year, City thrashed Liverpool at home 4-1 when Henderson and Fabinho were playing center back.
Yeah.
And that away game that happened in 2020, it was a 1-1 draw at the Etihad. 2019-2020, the year that Liverpool won it all, Liverpool lost 4-0 after claiming the title already or clinching the title already, and that was the infamous Bernardo Silva no clap during the Guard of Honor. And in the first meeting of that 1920 season, it was a 3-1 home win. So you can see every game has its own story. It's fluctuating. It's not like 3 wins in a row for Liverpool or 3 wins in a row for City. It's a draw here, a loss there, a win there. But I have a fun fact I want to throw at you, Jack, because I have all of them up right here in front of me. The last time Liverpool won at the Etihad was April 10th, 2018 in the Champions League quarterfinals.
Yep.
The match that we played this weekend is on April 10th, 2022. So 4 years later on, can Liverpool finally end that drought and win at the Etihad again?
I'll ask you that question in a moment, Todd. Before we get our predictions, what lineup would you like to see? Do you want me to offer mine first?
Yes, you go first.
I'll offer mine first. So in net, Alisson, obviously. Trent, right back. Robertson, left back. Van Dijk, center back. Those are the first 4 names practically because they're such a lock. I'm going to go Matip. because
That's right, yep.
he was rested, obviously, for that match against Benfica. Midfield trio, Fabinho at the base, the concussion that he potentially could have suffered in the back end of the match against Benfica.
He doesn't have hair. That's why he's bleeding.
Exactly. He's fine. It was just a minor cut on the back of his head. He's fine, so he'll be in the base of midfield. I'm going to go Thiago left center mid, Henderson right center mid. And up front,
Oh, this is where it's hard.
I'm going Salah.
Okay.
I'm going Mane
Wide right, wide left. Okay.
through the middle. Mane through the middle.
Oh, middle. Okay.
And Diaz out left.
Okay.
So I'm going with the same. No, I'm backing off. I want Diaz on the left. I want Firmino through the middle.
Oh, so you want that front three.
I want someone who can drop deep in the midfield, keep it close. Because I think this is a match where it's not going to be, and I'm fine to be wrong. I don't think it's going to be too high scoring. I think it'll be 3 goals in it at the most. And I don't want the first one to go City's way early on in the match. I want control. I hope Firmino can come in and offer some stability. I don't think Jota should start. I think Mane it's Mane or Firmino.
Okay.
People want to see Salah dropped. I think they got dropped on their head when they were a child because you're one of the best players in the world. I think we have to concede best player in the world to Karim Benzema at the moment. He's in unbelievable form.
Fantastic.
He scored 3 goals against Chelsea, which I quite enjoyed.
And before that, 3 goals against PSG, which I didn't enjoy.
Yeah, you're a bit of a PSG guy. I'm not a PSG guy.
Yeah.
I think you got to have him in there. Forwards like Salah aren't just gonna rest and recuperate and then all of a sudden be back fit and firing. I'm sure that could work. He needs to shoot his way out of it. He needs to work his way out of it. No better way than putting him in the biggest match of the season. So I think that's my side, Todd. I'm interested in your side.
For me, I agree with the entire back five. I think the back five picks itself. The midfield 3, you went Hendo,
Thiago.
Yep, I agree with that. I think we disagree with the front 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing Salah, Jota,
starting Jota,
and Luis Diaz. So I'm gonna switch 2 players out from you. I think we blitz them right away. I think Liverpool go out there, try to blitz City, play the speedy guys, Salah on one end, Luis Diaz on the other, and then have that option. If it doesn't go well, you have 2 veterans who's been there, who's got a result at the Etihad before, and you sub in Firmino and Mane. I think that the front 5 right now, there's just such fine margins on who starts and who doesn't start. I think it's just how you view the game and how you want to approach the game.
I agree 100%.
As who you play in that front 3 spot. So for me, Jota and Diaz gets the nod.
So I assume then by playing Jota, you're expecting to be a bit less on the ball. You want the off ball because I don't think if you have the ball, Jota's just going to lose it high up the pitch. His possession game isn't up to snuff. So I think that's the issue. I don't like City getting the ball more than they would with another forward. So, but if Jota starts, loses the ball 16 times in the first 20 minutes, but then scores a goal that ends up being the decider, I have to shut up because that's the most important part of the game.
And he's been doing that quite often this season. So
yeah. So now it's time to put not the money where the mouth is, but we actually need to predict 2 matches, Ta, because we will next do our show after Benfica.
City first.
We'll do Benfica first.
Okay.
Let's do Benfica first.
We'll save the best for last.
Yeah. What's your Benfica prediction?
1-0. I think that
Benfica or Liverpool?
What do you think? Benfica's going to win?
It could be Inter. Inter result.
Yeah. Liverpool 1-0. Got to be clear here. With Liverpool 1-0, I think you'll have similar vibes to that Inter game at home where, you have 2-goal lead. You're coming back home. Liverpool might slag off a bit in the first half. But I don't think Benfica is actually as good as Inter. Not going to lie. So I think that Liverpool are able to take care of it.
I am going to go with my prediction. I'm going to say 1-1. I think it's just going to be a case of Liverpool. Maybe Benfica score early. It's a bit tense, but then Liverpool score, and then you still have 2-goal lead. You kind of see it out. A draw at Anfield, I'm fine with that, and you advance to the next round. So, Manchester City, Liverpool.
My heart says Liverpool win. My head says City win.
Oh.
But people always say go with what your heart says. So Liverpool 5-4.
5-4.
Yes, Liverpool 5-4.
This isn't a penalty shootout result. This is the
game result. There's going to be 9 goals.
Wow. I said there'd be max 3 goals in it. I'm going to say there's 3 goals in this match. 2-1. And the winning end of that is going to be Liverpool. I'm going to go Liverpool as well because I don't think, it gets back into the classic trope of, as a fan, do you predict, even if you believe it, even if you think it's the right logical thing, you're betting your mortgage on a result, do you put it as the thing you think will happen or that you think could happen but you want it to happen? And I can't go into that match thinking, oh, but I was right and Man City won 2-1. And no, Liverpool 2, Manchester City 1. I'm thoroughly excited, Ta. It's going to be a thrilling match. That's getting primed for 11:30 a.m. our time, 4:30 p.m. UK time. A quick shout out before we leave. Fabio Carvalho, according to Fabrizio Romano, done deal, joined Liverpool. If you want to, at 10 a.m., about an hour and a half before, so that'll be over at 3 p.m. Over in the UK, you can watch Fulham against Coventry. Get a sneak peek at a future Liverpool player if he will play in that match. That's dependent on that. So I'll check the lineup news, see if Carvalho's in. If he's not, I'm not tuning in for some.
You're going
Fulham.
back to bed.
I'm going back to bed. No Fulham Coventry at 10 a.m. for me. I'll go back to bed, have some breakfast at 11. Ta, it's going to be a thrilling one. Make sure you subscribe to the LFC Transfer Room. A lot of content coming up. A lot of potential trophies down the rest of the stretch of this season. But in addition, some transfer analysis. I had a recent video with Cody surrounding Cody Hakpo. Getting some great insight from Michael Statham on that one. A lot more videos like that coming up. So let us know your thoughts. Let us know your predictions in the comments down below. Give us where your head's at and where your heart's at, and then tell us which one you're leaning towards on that pendulum. But that's been Ta. I've been Jack. This has been Scousers Abroad here in the United States. We'll be back in the LFC Transfer Room very soon. Take care.
See you next week.